This is Aaron Greenspan. He's an entrepreneur and a fellow at Stanford Law School. He makes software, and recently he applied for his first patent for a mobile payment system that he developed.
It took about $65,000 to get one patent, and that's including international applications.
$65,000 in about 5 years, he says, and it's not over yet.
Well, my guess is that when it's all said and done, actually getting the patent granted, hopefully in every jurisdiction, will be probably $100,000. So it's like, okay, if you're a startup, you're raising money, you could build your startup for $100,000, probably 2 or 3 times over, depending on the company. Or you could get one patent, which may or may not be enforceable.
In addition to getting the patent for his own business, Greenspan recently started a website called PlainSight that makes legal data accessible and it aims to help citizens identify issues with the law and try to fix them. So he's noticed some of the more frustrating aspects of the patent process, starting with its outdated use of technology. For example, to keep track of patents that matter to your business or your idea,
they require you, instead of filling out a web form, they have you go to a web page, and then the web page tells you, we'd like you to download this Excel spreadsheet, put it on a floppy disk or a CD, and then mail us the spreadsheet. And I mean, they have email. Like, you can email them about questions with a spreadsheet, but you can't actually email them the spreadsheet. So, it's just like mind-boggling.
Say you want to look up what patents a company has filed. Try IBM. Greenspan says that in the U.S. patent database, there are 1,185 spellings of IBM, a 3-letter name. In mid-February, Greenspan shared some of these frustrations at an event put on by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, or USPTO.
The patent backlog that is, the source of an enormous cost to entrepreneurs and enormous cost to society is, I think, driven in large part by this obsolete IT.
They're doing events around Silicon Valley this spring as they prepare to open an office here.
We utilize these roundtables basically to form a partnership between the PTO and the user community.
That's particularly important here. About a quarter of patents filed come from California, and half of those from Silicon Valley. Until last year, there was only one patent office in the country in Alexandria, Virginia. Last year, a new one opened in Detroit, and the PTO is working on new locations in Denver and Dallas. As for the one in Silicon Valley, it'll try to address substantive parts of the patent process that are most frustrating for software businesses, such as patent trolling and patents that are too broad and therefore stifle innovation. Michelle Lee will lead the new office in Silicon Valley. She's a lawyer who formerly worked for Google and has called for reforming the patent system.
I personally welcome your input on what you would like to see in the local Silicon Valley office of the United States Patent and Trademark Office. We have a tremendous opportunity here to create an office that best services the needs of the local innovation community.
Businesses in the area are hopeful that the new office will save them time and money and maybe even improve how software patents are handled.
The one thing I hear most from our companies is we would love more face time.
Emily Lamb works on federal policy issues for the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, a trade organization founded by David Packard that represents about 375 companies in the area.
We want to actually develop and have better relationships with patent examiners, which will increase understanding and then increase quality and speed. I'm giving the USPTO a lot of credit that the way they're thinking about it and how much input they're getting from our companies on what we want the office to be has been really great.
Last week, the government announced that the Silicon Valley office will open in May at a temporary location in Menlo Park. It'll be housed at the U.S. Geological Survey building off of Middlefield Road. But Lamb's group and the city of San Jose are advocating hard for that city to host the permanent office. They jointly led the bid for the PTO to select Silicon Valley as a new host location, and they say in San Jose it will be more accessible to public transportation and businesses in the South Bay. But just getting a presence in the valley at all is making Lamb optimistic.
It's actually considered a really big victory, and our companies absolutely love it since it could potentially save them time to travel. But actually, more importantly, the smaller companies that can't afford to take days off to fly to D.C. or hire somebody to go to D.C.
But Greenspan, the entrepreneur who's finalizing his first patent, is less optimistic, at least in the short term.
I think rather than spending all the money that's probably being spent on the Valley office, they should have spent that money on the IT in Washington, and it probably would have made 10 times the difference that just opening a new branch could make.
Rachel Estabrook for the Peninsula Press, a project of the Stanford Graduate Program in Journalism.